Okay, let's just jump right in. What if the reality you experience every single day, everything you see, hear, and feel, isn't, well, what you think it is? What if it's actually this meticulously crafted system with a hidden purpose? We're about to dive into a really fascinating and pretty provocative metaphysical thesis that challenges, literally, the very foundation of our existence. So, this is the central claim from a work called Deception Machine by an author who goes by Psygnosis. And the core argument is that what we call reality is actually a secondary, a manufactured environment. And this isn't just some vague philosophical idea either. The thesis lays out a whole architecture for how this thing supposedly works. And that right there is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, if our reality isn't the real reality, then what is it? If we're not in that, quote, primordial environment, then where the heck are we? Well, the thesis gives a pretty detailed and honestly kind of unsettling answer. It proposes that we're living inside a very sophisticated control system. All right, so let's get into the core premise here. We're going to break down exactly what this thesis calls the deception machine. And we'll also look at the state of freedom that it says is possible. It's a pretty radical way of looking at our world. So what is the deception machine? According to this thesis, it's basically an engineered reality. Think of it like a containment field. And its purpose? Well, it's not exactly friendly. It's designed to contain us and then harvest the energy of our awareness. And it does this by severely limiting what we can perceive and locking us into these repetitive thought loops. It's like it's convincing us that this tiny slice of reality we can see is the whole pie.
But here's the crucial flip side, right? If you're trapped in a machine, there's gotta be a way out. And the thesis has a name for this freedom: perceptual sovereignty. It's all about peeling back the filters, stripping away the programming, and seeing reality directly, reclaiming your own awareness from the system's control. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. The thesis argues that our most basic faculties, the very tools we use to make sense of the world, like physical sensation, language, even our emotions, aren't really ours. Instead, they're described as interfaces installed by the system to domesticate our awareness, to keep us in line. So if our senses and emotions are just the interfaces, what's the architecture behind it all? How does this machine actually work? Well, the thesis breaks down this architecture of control into three core subsystems, and they all work together to create this total environment of conditioning. And here they are, the three main pillars of the machine. You've got sensory control. That's what limits what you're even allowed to perceive. Then there's emotional harvesting, which literally uses your reactions as fuel. And finally, cognitive scripting, which uses language and belief to basically write the software for your reality. And as you can see, they're almost perfectly balanced, working in complete harmony.
This is how it all feeds on itself. It's a feedback loop. First, you get sensory input, but it's filtered, it's limited. That input triggers an emotional reaction, fear, desire, whatever, and then your mind jumps in with the cognitive interpretation using pre-written scripts and beliefs to explain that feeling. And what does that do? It reinforces the illusion, making you believe the initial sensory input was the whole truth. It's a perfect closed loop. And the craziest part is it convinces you you're making free choices the entire time. Okay, now we're getting to what the thesis calls the machine's most sophisticated and powerful tool. This is next level stuff. It's not just about controlling what you see or feel in any given moment. It's about controlling your perception of the entire flow of your life. It's called the Chronos Protocol, and it's basically the master disguise for the whole operation. The thesis argues that what we call aging, the way our senses seem to dim, the loss of clarity, isn't just a biological fact of life, it's a narrative. It's a story that's designed to make us accept the gradual theft of our own awareness as something natural and inevitable. So this is a really crucial distinction the thesis makes. On one hand, you've got biological rhythms, the natural cycles of growth and decay, the body's clock. That's real. But on the other hand, you have this psychological chronology. That's the machine's story of personal loss and decline. And the trick, the big illusion, is that the machine fuses these two together. It convinces you that your awareness depends on the body, so as the body ages, your awareness must naturally fade away too. But why? What's the goal of this whole Chronos protocol? It's simple, really, to keep your attention scattered, to keep you focused on the past and worried about the future, anywhere but the present moment. Because the now, right here, right now, is the only place where the illusion can be seen for what it is. It's the system's weak point. By keeping us out of the now, it keeps us from ever realizing we have the power to see through it all. So you might be thinking, if this system is so complete, so total, what can we possibly do? Well, that brings us to the final and I think most empowering part of this whole thing. Because the thesis doesn't just describe the prison, it actually gives us a blueprint for how to escape. So here are the proposed countermeasures, the disciplines for liberation. First, you have observation without reinforcement. That's about learning to see the machine's triggers without automatically reacting and feeding it your energy. Then there's the art of unwording. This is the practice of trying to experience things directly without slapping pre-programmed labels and definitions on everything. Next is emotional conservation. This means you can still feel your emotions, but you don't let them just be siphoned off as fuel for the system. And all of these, every single one, are powered by that last one, attention management. And really, this is the ultimate takeaway. This is the master key. According to this whole framework, your attention is everything. It's the currency of this reality. And yeah, the machine is constantly trying to grab it, but it is fundamentally yours to control. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. So you can either use it to power the machine, or you can use it to power your own autonomy. And it all really comes down to this one powerful idea from psygnosis. Knowledge is the solvent of control. The moment you understand how a system is trying to control you, it starts to lose its grip. Its greatest strength is that it's hidden. So knowledge, just seeing the architecture for what it is the first and most important step to reclaiming your freedom. So the thesis leaves us with this one last provocative question to think about. What if this huge, complex machine we've just talked about, what if it isn't an external prison with iron bars? What if the cage is just a habit of seeing? Because if that's true, then maybe changing how you see is all it takes to change everything.